So I have the pleasure to be right after lunch and tell you something about leadership in me. And because I didn't want to speak for 15 minutes about only me, I made it in a mixed way. And what I will tell you is a little bit about leadership in me, but it has a goal also to evoke something in you about your own leadership. So for that, I need your participation. So when I ask a question, I need you to help me and raise your hand and answer. And I also need that you consider some of the things and questions that I will be giving to you over those 15 minutes. I have prepared for you 10 different quotes, because I love quotes. And quotes are one of the things that inspire my leadership. So I have prepared for you 10 different quotes of 10 different interesting people. And I will go through them one by one in a sequence that makes sense to help you to know a little bit about me and my leadership, but also to help you to step into your own leadership. So the first question is, where does future come from? And it's from a friend of mine. So where does future come from? So what do you think? 3 people, what do you think? Where does future come from?
From present. From present.
From present?
From vision. From vision.
From vision. Thank you very much.
From my past experiences.
From my past experiences. Thank you very much. Great. So, simple question, different answers. There is not the right answer. But it's important for you as a leader to consider this question, because it's an important question. Where does future come from? Am I a victim to my circumstances, or am I making the future happen? And none of these two is right or wrong, because there you could find many people who are either or. But it's important because everything that you believe has a consequence. So very important question, where does future come from? I personally believe, a little bit like what was said, that future comes from our imagination. So there's another quote, imagination creates reality, man is all imagination. As an example, I often talk with people about science fiction. Science fiction. Who here likes science fiction literature? Sci-fi fiction. So, it's very interesting because I was always thinking, how come all these science fiction authors exactly know what's going to happen in 20 to 30 years? How come Jules Verne can write about things that keep happening 20, 30 years from then? And then I was thinking, well, what if it's the other way around? What if because he wrote about them 20, 30 years ago, that's why we have them today? Just think about Star Trek. Most of the mobile phones they use in Star Trek, they use pretty much like the V mobile phones that Nokia uses today. So what if it's the other way around? What if what we imagine can become reality? And it might be like that or not. I don't know. But it's a fun possibility to play with, at least for me. So if it's about vision, then what do you want to imagine? What can your leadership be about? There's a quote from Aristotle which says, where your talents and the needs of the world cross, there lies your vocation. A vocation is like a lifetime purpose or your lifetime calling. Okay? So this could be one way to look at it, to cross what you are good at and what does the world need in your specific time where you're alive. So that could be one way to look at it, and this is maybe more for the intellectual people. Another way to look at it is to look at what your heart says about what your vocation can be. So don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So that could be another way how to discover that. So in that theory, I want to give you a question that I would like you to write down the answer to on your piece of paper. So, and the trick is, when I ask the question, you just write the first thing that comes to your mind. You don't think about it too much. Yeah? So are you ready? Ready for the question? I'm going to give you the question and write it down right away. So the question is, what would you do if you could not fail? Just write it down. First thing.
Can you repeat the question, please?
What would you do if you could not fail? Come on, don't think about it too much, just write the first thing. Good. Anybody needs more time? No? No more time. Written. It comes very fast, doesn't it? And what you just wrote down might be a good indication of what your vocation is, or what your calling is. So I don't know whatever that is, but it might be a good indication either what it is, or what could be the direction of where your leadership can go in this world. So the rest of what I want to give you is few recommendations for the journey. So now, since you have an indication of where you're going, what could be helpful for your journey as a leader? The first quote, do not follow where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. I think there is spaces for different leadership, but I think it's very interesting to create something that is not here yet, that builds on what is good in the past, but maybe that's perhaps a little bit different than what we have. Leadership is doing what is right when nobody's watching. I think this is a very important point for me. And you know what that means. You know what the choices are. You know, when nobody sees you, do I cheat a little bit or not? When nobody is here to tell if I did right, what do I know inside is the right thing to do in any given situation? This is a very powerful test to give yourself. And I do believe that it's not only about what you achieve and what is the result, that is half of the story, but the other half is how did you get there? Because everything that you did and all the things that you sacrificed in getting to your result are also part of that result. So if you do a lot of choices that, for example, hurt other people in the way of achieving something, just be ready that those consequences might come back at you because that's what's included in your final result. Next quote is lighter. It's from Wayne Gretzky. 100% of the shots you don't take, don't go in. Very simple. But this advice actually helps me a lot because if you're a little bit like me, a perfectionist, you try to do everything perfect the first time. Like there is, for example, statistics that, you know, in entrepreneurs in America, I think it takes maybe 2-3 ideas to find the right one, right? So it takes maybe you need to try 2-3 things that won't work out for you to find the one that will. So if you are like thinking, well, what is my right idea? What is the one thing that I want to do? You're kind of missing the plot because you should just do something and then something and then something and then you're going to find the right idea, right? So this quote helps me to remember that it's good to try for perfection, but sometimes it's also good just to show it to the world and see what happens and then kind of adapt as you go along. So I think both of these are important. Another quote is from Gandhi, which is a little bit lengthier, but it's a very powerful one for me because sometimes things that you want to change or want to make happen, they don't happen as fast as you want. They don't happen as fast as you wish. And the quote says, it's the action, not the fruit of the action that's important. You have to do the right thing. It may not be in your power, may not be in your time that there will be any fruit, but it does not mean you stop doing the right thing. You may never know what results come from your action. But if you do anything, there will be no result. And I spoke with people who met the Dalai Lama, and they were saying, it's really frustrating. We keep doing all these things, but nothing keeps happening. And he just kind of looked at them and smiled and said, well, it's difficult because what you want to produce, it will take 400 years to produce. You just want it too fast. You just need to be a little bit more patient. And this is my last quote. That is kind of to leave you with. This is an advertisement that Ernest Shackleton, who was a polar explorer, put out when he was making a polar expedition to the South Pole. And this appeared in the newspapers in the 1940s. And it said, "Man wanted for hazardous journey. Small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful. Honor and recognition in case of success." And he was looking for 20 people, and within 1 week, he had 500 people applying with this advertisement. So I think there is something, you know, if we speak about leadership in me, there is something powerful about us human beings who love challenges, who love to aspire, and even though we get beaten up in the process of realizing our dreams, we always step up and make it happen. That was from me on leadership in me. Thank you very much.